What is up, Mount St. Mary's basketball fans? Welcome into the unofficial, I guess, official Mount St. Mary's Media Day here. We've got a couple players coming in for you, but first joining us is Coach Donny Lind. Uh, Donny, thanks for doing this. We appreciate this, and I think it should be a fun opportunity just to talk some Mount St. Mary's hoops.
Absolutely. Appreciate you guys having me.
Joining me here today, co-hosting this event is basketball coach extraordinaire, David Kaplan. David, just give us a little about yourself, background, and things like that for folks maybe not familiar.
Yeah, appreciate you saying all that. Grew up in the DMV, started coaching high school after I graduated college, about 2011. I think I started coaching high school. Moved on to the college ranks, D3, JUCO, Division I, and then back to the high school ranks. I was at Fork Union as a head coach last year, and we'll be announcing my new coaching stop later this week. So glad to be doing this, though.
Love that. That's a perfect tease for everybody. So make sure to follow Coach_Cap, KAP, on Twitter and X for all those updates. But joining us here right now to kick things off is Mount St. Mary's first-year head coach, Donny Lind, a veteran of the podcast at this point, been on here twice now. So, Coach, I guess just first off, since the last time we talked, it's been a couple months now. Got your feet under you a little bit more. How have things been going?
Yeah, things are great. We're advancing. We're moving in, I think, the right direction. It's such an odd time because we've been going against each other for so long. Yep. And we finally get a chance to see somebody else in a close scrimmage and get film and get exposed in areas that we don't really work on as much when we're working on ourselves. And so the last couple months have been a blast. It's been fun to really get focused on basketball. The first few months you're on the job, there's so many other things than coaching basketball that we've had to work on, and they're super important. It's first the players and the people in the program was certainly priority one, to make sure we had a group of guys that we felt like we could mold and help become the type of young men that could be really successful here at the Mount. And then obviously to have a coaching staff that I believe in and that can help me as we push these guys in the right direction. So those things are great and they're super important, but it's also nice to get out there on the court and help these guys grow in their game and certainly help them come together as a team.
Yeah, that's awesome. Before we get too far into this, and I'll let David kick us off with the first question here. Also brought to you by Stateside Vodka and their Surfside Hard Iced Teas, hard lemonades, hard half and halves, hard every flavor you can think of. And BetOnline, it's your number one source for all your sports betting needs this season. Everything you can think of, college basketball if you want to, but not with anybody here on the call. Obviously, we want to stay away from that if possible. So maybe stick to the NBA if you're listening to this. Get the latest odds, lines, and matchup reports for all your favorite teams. Head to the website today or use your mobile device to get in on the action. BetOnline, where the game starts. All right, Coach Cap, why don't you kick us off here, and we'll get rolling with this.
Coach Lind, I'm curious, what are kind of your expectations for year one, especially having, coached your guys for, the whole offseason and preseason so far?
Yeah, I mean, the biggest goals or expectations that I have is to establish a culture that models the things that we believe in. We believe in relationships. So I want guys that truly care about each other. And I want that to be obvious on the court. I want a group of guys out there that, you can tell are playing for each other. And, the only way to do that is to really, I believe, is to build a true relationship and to get to know each other. And so, building a culture centered around that, centered around development, centered around joy. I want you to watch a Mount St. Mary's game and be like, man, those guys have a ton of fun playing basketball. I think college basketball has become such a business, and we all fell in love with the game of basketball at a young age. I tell our guys, I tell our recruits, my son is 8, and so he's just falling in love with basketball, and I see the joy on his face every time he makes a shot. And I want, when we play, you to feel that about our team, that they enjoy playing the game with each other. And I feel like if we can do that, then the wins will come, and certainly, I'm not out here to build a culture that produces no wins. We expect to compete every night when we're out there. And, whether that means we win, 5 games or 10 games or 15 games or 25 games, it's, do we compete every night the right way? And do we play the way that shows that culture we're trying to build. And, I think the results will be pretty darn good if we can get that stuff figured out, because we got talented players here. I'm excited about the group we have.
One group I think you don't want it to be fun for is the team you're playing against every night. I got a quote here from you. We want people to hate playing against us because of how difficult it is to execute against us in the full or half court. I want people to adjust what they do to our playing style. I think, one, that's awesome. And I think Mount St. Mary's fans will like hearing that too. But can you talk a little bit just about how you go about doing that, and how do you make life so tough on opponents?
Yeah, it starts, in the weight room and in the practice court by doing everything faster. We transition from drill to drill faster. We get on to the next rep faster. We do everything a little bit faster so that we are used to being in an uncomfortable tempo for someone else. And so, that's where the biggest adjustment came for our guys, as well as we believe it'll be for the other team. I mean, we played a scrimmage the other day at 81 possessions in 40 minutes. So we certainly got to establish our tempo of the game. So, getting the game going faster is one way we do that. Full court pressure is another way we do that. We intend on, picking up full court in multiple different presses for the whole game, on, dead balls and made shots as much as we can. And then, we're going to change defenses a bunch. So on the defensive end, we're going to have multiple different defenses and keep you off balance, whether it's ball screen coverage or man or zone or, things like that can just make you have to think. And, I learned at a really young age in this game, one of my favorite phrases, and that's, when you think, you stink. And, I believe that if we can have the other team always having to think about what we're doing, they won't be able to execute the stuff that they want to do at the right level.
No, I love hearing that, Coach. I'm curious. DMV fans obviously know the name Malcolm Dredd. He's one of your more coveted players as far as coming out of high school. What can fans expect from him, and how has he looked so far in the preseason?
Yeah, Mo's an interesting case. Mo obviously went to the A-10 out of high school, and spent a couple years, kind of figuring out college basketball. He's had a rough go of it a little bit. Obviously did not play much at Richmond and ended up here at the Mount, and riddled with injuries and some things throughout his career. But he's done a good job of getting himself in good enough shape to play and compete. I think at his best, he has a really high IQ. He's a stretch four who can, help our offense click because he can make plays, not just make shots. And, there have been more days than not that he's that guy. But, he's searching for some consistency in his game still. And so, we'll see how that comes about over the course of the next, couple of weeks as we're figuring out playing time and all that.
You retained a lot more guys from last year's team than I think most teams in the conference, honestly, which is a good problem to have. Was that like a huge focus for you coming in, of just keeping as many guys in Mount uniforms as possible?
I wanted guys that want to be here. Having worked at the Mount before, I knew that, the Mount's a unique place. Anyone who's been up here knows. I think one of our best sales pitches for a recruit in the DMV is you want to go away to school, but you still want your people, your friends, your family to be able to come watch you play. Well, you're only an hour away from home when you come to the Mount, but it's a long hour. It feels like you're a little further from home than an hour, if you're coming from, DC or PG County or, places like that. And so, people who want to be here, I wanted to keep. And so, I think we had a lot of guys that the change excited them. They were excited about what we were talking about with how we wanted to play. They were looking for a fresh start, and they felt like our culture would be good for them. And, I didn't feel like it was right to come in and run everybody off because, there were some good pieces that were still here. And I thought, especially, some of the athletic forwards that we retained, those guys would be a great fit for what we were doing, style of play wise. And, if we could keep them, we got to try to do that. So, I was really fortunate, no new players went in the portal after I got the job. And, we did I think we went right in and built a relationship right away. And it's been proven to, I think to help us have a better group here going into the fall.
I like that. It appears you guys are playing, at least 4 bye games. And I'm curious if there's any reason why those teams were scheduled, or did it just kind of happen organically?
I told somebody this is the easiest year of scheduling I've ever had in my life. Having worked at UNCG and Radford the last couple of years, where we were notorious for beating high major teams in guarantee games, it was really hard for us to schedule. Everyone thinks we're going to stink. I've never called the timeout before, and we don't. We lost the two best players off last year's team, so it was easy to find games. Certainly, but in all seriousness, the opportunity to play really good local teams. Why wouldn't we do that? Why wouldn't we go to Mason? Why wouldn't we go to Maryland? Why wouldn't we go to Georgetown as many times as those guys would have us? I think it's great for our fans. It's great for their fans. I think our guys love those environments. We're going to recruit the area. Those guys will come in. Our DMV players will walk into those games with a different chip on their shoulder than if we were to go play a similar team that is out of the area. And so I think that gives us an opportunity to, have a fighting chance. And I feel like I learned a lot in those games with Coach Jones over the last 8 years. And so hopefully we can put in a good show. And then we chose to go to Miami because we have 2 kids on the team from Florida, and who doesn't want to go to Miami right before Christmas and take those guys home and let them play in front of their friends and family. I think is important. I think it's something that we can use in recruiting, but more than using recruiting, it's just important for them to get that opportunity because they chose to come all the way this far from home. And their people don't get to see him play very often. So to give him that opportunity is nice.
I'm glad you mentioned that sort of DMV footprint on the team. The last Mount game I went to, I watched you guys in the afternoon, and then I went down and watched a Wizards game that night. So it really isn't, that tough a trip. And one of the guys on your team with that DMV sort of blueprint there is Xavier Lipscomb from DC. I missed most of last season with a foot injury. Guess how's he doing? How's he been in practice so far? And just one of the things I think I'm assuming you want to see from him is him be a little more aggressive on the offensive end this year. Is that something you've kind of had to push him to do it all yet?
Yeah, X is doing great physically. He's back. He hasn't missed a day of practice since we got started here. I think in the summer. I think he might have missed one day in the summer, but since we started in the fall, he definitely hasn't missed a day. We put a new floor in the main arena, and they'd been playing on the original floor from like 1983 here in the arena. And the biggest reason that we got a new floor was because of the health and safety of our guys. They needed a softer surface to play on. So X was very happy about that after the injury last year. But he's been great. He is an unbelievable leader. I've got a history. I recruited X out of high school. He played for us at Radford when I was there. So I've known X for a really long time. And he's been great to walk into the locker room and have him there who trusts me, who knows me, who can help me with the rest of the guys. And then, I certainly want to see him be an aggressive offensive player. Part of the blessing of X is that he is ultra competitive. He's an unbelievable leader, and he wants to help the other guys be their best. And almost to a fault, sometimes he won't, he'll defer his own offense to help someone else. And so, we've talked a lot about, asking him to, not force shots, but if you're open, you need to shoot the ball. And he's a good shooter. You look at his career numbers, he's got great 3-point numbers throughout his career on low volume. And so I feel like if we up the volume a little bit, he'll continue to shoot at a high percentage. He's the hardest working kid on our team. He's in the gym more than anybody else. And so, I know that all that will translate to him being a little bit more of a volume guy on offense, hopefully.
There's a thing that Bill Self did a couple years ago on their national championship, the 2 national championship teams ago with Brandon Rush when he was their best player on the team and wasn't shooting enough. So he made him go run on the treadmill every time he passed up an open shot. So you've got that in your back pocket if you
go.
Push him to run a little extra.
I love it. We might need it.
Dan departed for Syracuse, obviously, which, job opened then, and they were able to hire you. Have you guys spoken since you got the job? Or since the job was open, and also what was discussed, and is there a possibility that maybe down the road Mount travels up to Syracuse?
Dan's been great to me. He obviously we all make decisions in our careers for different reasons, and it was time for him to leave. And I've got a ton of respect for what he did while he was here. He's a really good basketball coach, and he's been great to me as far as helping me build a relationship with our players. giving me some of the contacts that I needed to help with that, whether it's high school coaches or AU coaches or people I might not know. But he's been great. Whether we'll play or not, I doubt he'll be okay with that until all the guys that he coached are gone. But I got no problem going up there. It'd be fun to play in the Dome. It's one of the few, major venues I've never been in my life. So it wouldn't be the worst trip in the world. Maybe he'd throw us an extra $5,000 since he knows how things are, at this level.
Just going back to another returner here, you've got Dallas Hobbs. I think that's somebody that seems like he should be poised to take a big jump. He's a really good playmaker. Shot selection was maybe something last year that needed a little refining. Is that something that you guys have worked with him on or talked through yet?
Dallas. Yeah, Dallas is a super scorer. He knows how to score. He is as naturally gifted as a scorer as we have on our team, and so it's about understanding the game as opposed to understanding shot selection when it comes to a lot of guys in this generation. Dallas's dad is a workout guy, and that's why he's so talented. His dad has worked him out since he was a young child and helped him become the scorer that he is. But guys who the downside of that is, and for most players, that are playing in this generation, is they played a lot less basketball 5-on-5 than we did when we were playing, when we were 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 years old. And so I think Dallas's efficiency is going to go up this year because of just having played another year of college basketball and understanding the game better, plus, I'm excited for how he fits into what we want to do offensively. He can be a primary ball handler. He can be a secondary ball handler. But like you said, he's a playmaker. He makes good plays for himself and for other guys with the ball in his hands. And so, we've tried to empower him to do that. One of the things that we've talked to him about is, being a winner, trying to win, every time you step on the court. And that's been I think the biggest area of growth for him is trying to focus on what does the team need from me to win? What do they need from me right now to win? And he's been really, really receptive. He's one of those guys that comes to my office almost every day, sit down and watch film together. We talk about basketball. We talk about life. And to see him grow, especially over the course of the last couple of weeks, a lot of the, the messages and the lessons that we've been trying to get through to him, you start to see some of those light bulbs go off, and that's a lot of fun. Now, we'll see when minutes start getting handed out and games start coming, if those lessons continue to show on the floor. But I'm excited for the year that Dallas can have.
Love it. Coach, I know Mount recently launched their NIL collective or during the summer. How can people support Mount basketball going forward with the collective?
Yeah, so we launched Emmett's Brigade. I believe it's emmetsbrigade.org. I think I probably should know that off the top of my head. But we certainly we're looking for people if they want to support us financially. That is a way you can do it. Certainly the Mount Club is a way you can do it as well. And the way college basketball is going, they may be all merged at some point here in the next few months. But it's a way that we're going to be able to starting this spring. It's another way that we're going to be able to give the guys what they've honestly earned and deserved over the last however many years that they've been playing college basketball, and that we've had this revenue generated and the players haven't gotten their fair share. So that's a way that we'll be able to hopefully make our guys' experience here at Mount St. Mary's better, give them more opportunities to play at a higher level at this high of a level, and to hopefully win a lot. Because we're able to use those funds in a way that helps. So, anyone who wants to support there or any businesses that, I think that's certainly an avenue that we're trying to explore. Our businesses that want to help us and partner with us in the NIL landscape, is certainly something we're looking for.
And we'll put the link to that in the episode description here. So if folks are watching this after the fact, they can just kind of easily click on that and go from there. So if you're listening to this and you got a business, let's hook our guys up here. So make sure they get some free food or something at least.
No doubt.
Out of this. Coach, just as we start to kind of wrap things up with you before we transition onto the players, just for you to be as successful as you need to be as a team this year, what do you guys need to do? What does Mount St. Mary's basketball need to look like?
Yeah, I think the biggest things that we're trying to see is can we take that jump as a team? can we get past our individual agendas and be willing to do whatever the team needs possession by possession? And that's the heart. That's what every team is searching for right now. We have talented players. I'm fortunate, like you said, the guys we retained were good players. We brought in some really talented players, and we have a lot of talent on the team. But our biggest focus has been coming together and being able to do whatever we do as a team, and not being able to celebrate each other's successes and pick each other up when things don't go our way. And if we're able to do that consistently, then I think the sky's the limit for this team, because there are talented guys out here. There are guys that are able to to score, to make plays for other guys, to make shots, to rebound, to defend. We check a lot of boxes, and I think we can be pretty deep if we have guys that are bought into play in that way. And so that's been our biggest work. We have a meeting every week. It's called the DCC, Developing Championship Culture, and we sit there and we talk about really, what do winners do, what do teams that win do, and what do they look like. And guys are starting to understand that all the talent in the world doesn't get you very much, but if you can do it together as a group, you can be really, really special. And so we're working our way there, and if we can continue to improve and be a lot better team in February than we are right now, I like our chances when that time comes.
That's great. Dave, David, one more, maybe one last question for Coach here, and we'll let him get out of here.
Yeah, I got to ask. Obviously, you guys play Loyola. How emotional of a game will that be for you? And how many friends and family from your time at Loyola do you expect in attendance?
Yeah, I've gotten a lot of calls and texts about that one already. One of the things I think that I'm really good at is not getting ahead of myself. I think that's helped me my whole life. My parents instilled that in me, and trying to live one day at a time, and not put too much thought into what's going on next week, let alone tomorrow or December, whatever day that game is. But I'm sure on that day I'll be excited. I'm sure I'll want to win. They are they got a good team there. They're going through I'm sure a lot of the same stuff we are right now. Josh, a really good coach, and I'm sure he's going through a lot of the same stuff as he's trying to build that program after his ideas and his vision. It'll be a fun day, but I'm sure I might need somebody to tap me on the shoulder and tell me to calm down a little bit, but it'll be fun.
Very cool. I think that's the end of my list. David, anything else for you?
No, that's it. Can't wait to follow you guys this year. I'm sure I'll be at the Mason game amongst others, and I look forward to pulling for you guys and cheering you guys on to success.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate you doing this for us and giving us some exposure. We are certainly, I know we are the extended area of the DMV, but we want to make sure that we continue to establish our footprint in the area, and especially for young people and coaches to see that the Mount is a great choice for players who are have that idea of staying close to home, but want to play really, really good basketball in a really competitive league.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Coach. We appreciate you. All right, we're going to let you get out of here. We'll bring on a couple of the guys, and we'll put them through the ringer here a little bit.
Sounds good. Don't be too hard on them.
We got you.
Thanks, guys.
Yep.
All right, let's slowly bring on a couple of the guys here. And all right, so we've got X Lipscomb coming on here first. X, how are you, man?
Good. How y'all doing?
Great. Good. Appreciate you coming on.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
All
right. Well,
Matt, you want to start us off?
Yeah. Let's get right into this here, and we've got Dola and Carmelo on here too. We'll bring you guys on after. We're just going to stagger you just so it's not too crowded on the screen, and you guys each get a little bit of FaceTime here. So for you guys waiting in the waiting room, if you want to come back in a couple minutes, no pressure. Do what you need to do, and we'll bring you on one at a time here. So X, I guess maybe just to start us out, first of all, how's the foot feeling?
It's feeling great. Megan, our trainer, she spent countless hours with me rehabbing, getting me back right. So I'm 100% now.
That's awesome. Good to hear.
You're named third team all conference of this preseason. I'm sorry. Wow, we're reading the wrong question there. I was like, as soon as I saw, I was like, wait a second. No, that's X. No, I'm curious, having the prior relationship with Coach Lind that you've had, obviously, since high school, what's it mean to kind of come full circle and play for him now as his first year as a head coach?
As you said, it was crazy to come full circle, but when we got the call that he was going to get the job, you know, I was ecstatic. You know, I know it was one of his lifelong dreams to become a head coach. So I was super happy for him. And, you know, when he asked me, do you want to stay and play for me? I was like 100%. I'm ready and locked in.
That's awesome. Why come back for year 5 other than just playing for coach? You know, what brought you back to the Mount for your 3rd season at the Mount, but 5th season of college basketball overall?
Really just unfinished business. You know, I had a season-ending injury that left me out to dry. I was there in spirit, you know, most of the time, but when I was there, I was itching to play. So just being able to have that opportunity to get back on the court, you know, in front of the crowd and not arena, and, you know, win some games, you know, I was ready for the opportunity.
Why number 45? You don't see a whole lot of those in college basketball and NBA, and so I've always kind of been curious to that.
Really is because of my dad. He had a Michael Jordan DVD back in the day. I can't remember which one it was, but when he came back from playing baseball, he wore 45, and he had the black jersey on. So that really stuck with me, and I was like, that's who I wanted to be, really. He's not my favorite player, by the way, but, you know, it was just a good look.
All right, you got to tell us who the favorite player is then. That's quite the tease. Okay.
LeBron.
All right, there you go. You're that generation. David and I are the old MJ generation here, so we get it.
Okay, if you say so. Better overall basketball player to me.
You can't judge him on just his time with the Wizards, which is still underrated, but, you know, just a shell of himself. You know, whatever LeBron's, you know, workout and off-season treatment, like if Jordan had that, we'd be having a whole different conversation. But no, he was, again, he's my GOAT. I think he's Matt's GOAT as well. But again, all great players.
Just if you don't mind me hopping in here for one more, you mentioned black jerseys there. The Mount is rocking some sick black jerseys this year. Those things look really cool. How do you guys, as the players, feel about wearing them?
Man, we're super excited. When they told us we was getting them, we was very happy because we was fighting for them for a while. The branding didn't work out, but then they figured it out. So we're super ecstatic. Hopefully we can rock them at home at some point for like a all blackout game. So we're super excited.
Very cool.
Any newer young players who kind of impressed you or pleasantly surprised, I guess, the returners?
Really all of them. They've got up to speed very fast. You know, we're working countless every day, like working really hard. But if I had to pick out one, I would really say Melo. Actually funny, he's my roommate, but when I first met him, I was like, dang, are you like a junior or senior? He was like, no, I'm a sophomore. I was like, dang, that's crazy. But he's really stood out to me, his shot making ability, and just finding him when he's open and just letting him fly and knocking him down.
We talked to Coach Lind about the DMV sort of makeup of the team here and how you guys are just around the corner, you know, and it's close enough for people to see you play. You are a DMV native and local here. So can you give the sales pitch maybe to other local players here about coming up to the Mount from the DMV?
If you're looking for a great place to play D1 basketball, the Mount is a great opportunity for you. The MAC is a great conference, you know, day in and day out is great competition. And, you know, you shine in there, you can shine anywhere else. So you get the opportunity to play in an NCAA tournament, make a name for yourself, make a name for the university. So just a great opportunity.
Great answer.
You know, I'm curious, you mentioned Melo's your roommate. So he was at Fork Union the year before I got there. Now, does he make his bed every morning? I know we were very big on that.
I'm not sure, but I can tell you he's very clean.
It's nice quality in a roommate. I'm sure that's
absolutely. I love it.
You play with the long sleeve shirt on some of the time when you play, or at least sleeves more often than not. I'm always just curious about that because I was always a guy that went with the long sleeve as well. But what made you do that?
It's a every game occurrence for me. But when I was little, my mom thought it was cold in every gym that I went to because, you know, basketball season during the winter. So at first she had me wearing like long johns with the wool, but that's not really conducive to basketball. And I was soaked out there. So my dad took me to like Sports Authority, one of those stores, and got me some nice dry fit material. And, I just been rocking it since I was young.
I like it. Make it your own.
I know you played at St. Stephen, St. Agnes in high school. Man, talk about that experience, kind of, the coaching staff, the other players, and just how good that league was, and even your non-league games.
Mm-hmm. In the DMV, you really have a rough outing every night. You could be playing a WCAC team one day, a MAC team another day, or my senior year, we actually played some out-of-state teams. So really day in and day out is great competition. My last 2 years, we ran the IAC, and I'm very proud of that. But Coach Jones did a very good job. He's at DeMatha now of instilling hard work, like energy and effort every day. We pressed every game, the whole game, and, just working hard and getting W's.
You're the OG on this team, not to call you an old guy, but you're probably the longest tenured person at this point, or one of them. What do you tell the new guys coming in? How do you help them sort of make that transition into the program? And at least Coach Lind going back a little bit further here. So how do you help them kind of get adjusted to him and what he's looking for?
Yeah, it's just constant encouragement. When I was a freshman, when I didn't know something, somebody picked me up. So it's just encouraging them and making sure that, you're good at basketball. Like, you don't make it this far without being good. So it's just trusting in their abilities. I might have to give them a kick in the butt every once in a while, but just know it all comes from love, and we're here for the same goal, which is to win a championship for the Mount.
Great answer again.
Obviously, Mount's a great academic institution, and I mean, you're quite a talented basketball player. What are your goals for, after this season, and then whenever the ball does stop bouncing?
Mm-hmm. So the Mount is a great institution. I graduated with 2 degrees, one in cybersecurity and the other one in accounting, and I'm currently in the MBA program. But after basketball, I do want to become a coach, following Coach Lind's footsteps. I don't know if that's professionally or collegiately. I haven't thought that far, but that is something I'm looking to do down the road. And then if all else fails, I'll rely back on my degrees and, maybe go work in the government or become a CPA or something like that.
As a government employee with an MBA, I think you're well on your way. So I can recommend that track for you. It gives you some time to do this stuff on the side here too. So Good answer again. Killed it. Just ask me last question or two and we'll get you out of here. If someone hasn't seen a Mount St. Mary's game and they're listening to this and they're intrigued, like, what's the sales pitch? Why should they come up to Emmitsburg and watch you guys play?
Mm-hmm. It's going to be very fast paced. We're going to be very aggressive on the defensive end, pressing, trapping all game long. And, Coach Lind isn't shy. If you're open, let it fly. So we're going to get up a bunch of threes. So just come. It's going to be electric. We got people who can get on the rim and dunk. So it's going to be very, very fun to watch.
Yeah, I'm curious. Coach Lind mentioned the collective and NIL, obviously the new era of college basketball.
Mm-hmm.
One, what's your social media handles, and what kind of NIL opportunities would you be interested in? Maybe a business that, you guys have similar interests, that you think you would represent their brand well.
That's a great question. My social media, my Instagram is Xavier._45. For NIL opportunities, really anything. Up to this point, I've been playing for free and I love the game. So anything that any company wants to reach out and, we can collaborate or do something together, I'm all for
it. Just last one I got for you, kind of a silly one. Who is the guy on the team with the aux cord in the locker room? Who's picking the music? And do they do a good job?
Everybody has different music tastes. So I can just throw out some artists that we listen to frequently. Definitely Playboy Cardi, NBA Youngboy. Let's see. My personal favorite is Drake, but nobody lets me get on the aux. They say it's too soft.
Come on, man. You're the vet. You just take it. That's on you.
It's not even up to me at this point. Our strength coach was like, yeah, X is never getting back on. But, So just those, Lil Uzi, just stuff along that realm.
So basically, all of Coach Lind's playlist is what you're saying.
Oh man, his playlist. We listened to that in practice today. I wasn't a fan, but it got me through practice for sure.
All right, you can roast him a little bit. He's not here to defend himself. So what's he listening to? What do we got?
Let's see.
He's going some country. Is it some old school rock and roll? Like what are we talking?
He has some country in there. He has some 2000s rap on there. He has some gospel songs on there. So it was a variety, but I'm just a Drake guy, so
no shame in that.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
X, thank you so much for doing this. David, any final questions for X?
Nah, man. Expecting a big year out of you. Hoping you guys turn some heads in the league. And I can't wait to come watch you play in person. I think I saw you play at Radford many, many years ago. Like you said, You're an OG. So looking forward to seeing the fifth year X.
All right. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. Yeah, good luck this season. Take care of that foot. Do the old man stuff, ice and stretch and all that other good stuff after the fact.
I got you. Thank you.
All right. Take care. All right. Let's bring on Dola Adebayo next here. Dola, how are you?
I'm doing good. How you guys doing?
Good. Thank you for doing that. Thanks for being patient with us. Sorry, we could have probably coordinated this a little bit better so you guys weren't sitting around, but I appreciate you guys being flexible.
That's all good. It's all good.
Dola, I'm curious. I know you're from Florida. How's the family, obviously with the hurricanes? I don't know how badly, if at all, you guys got hit, but how's it going down there?
I was kind of stressed, but it was good to hear from my mom, my dad, that there was no damage. So we're definitely blessed for that. So we're all good.
Awesome.
Glad to hear that. Dola, you're redshirt junior coming back. People are expecting a big year from you. Third team all conference this preseason. I think that's an indictment to the growth you've shown throughout your career. Is there another level you think you're ready to get to here? Like, I guess, what will we see from you this season that'll be different from last season?
I think I've taken a step in just trying to make the right play every time. Early this summer, I came in with the intent to show them that I'm just going to score. But with the coaches and with the new culture they're trying to build, we have the goal of getting a championship. So I've just tried to mature and make the right play every single time. That's just the main thing I've been building.
What's your approach been having a new head coach and entering your third season of college basketball?
I've just been with Coach Lind, just being by his side, just learn everything I can. The new coaching staff, I love them. So just hanging around them, trying to get extra film anytime I can, and just getting to know them and just building a good relationship with them.
Is there any particular aspect of Coach Lind and the new staff style that surprised you, or things that they're asking you to do that maybe you hadn't been asked to do before? Just anything that's kind of unexpected for you?
One thing I really like is how fast-paced we're going to play.
Nice.
I'm going to be at the top of the press a lot and be able to use my athleticism and long arms and try to turn people over. So I'm looking forward to that.
It sounds fun.
Yeah.
I listen to a lot of media days and press conferences, and coaches really love the term everyday guy. How have you gone about becoming an everyday guy over at the Mount?
Just working on being positive, coming in and just giving everything I got every day. Working through pains, just trying to keep pushing through, on bad days, just try to find the mental, just try to beat the mental game. And that's taking some work, but been working on that and trying to just build that characteristic for by the time the game comes, that won't affect me as much or at all because I worked on it.
You're one of the guys that's been around now for a couple of years here with the program. So are they asking you to kind of take more of a vocal leadership role and step up and kind of help, integrate the new guys into what they want to do as a program?
Yeah, definitely. I'd say Rel's been doing a great job at that, X, of course. And I'm just trying to pick it up where they leave it off and gain that that aspect about myself too, because I'm not usually the loudest guy, but I'm trying to work on that too.
Yeah, outside of basketball, what kind of interests and hobbies do you have?
Back home in the summer, I like to work on clothing. I like to make shirts. I'm working on a brand. Also make some music. So I don't really play the game that much. So I've just been, and I cut hair. So that's, I just dabble in little things.
Well, I'm looking for a barber, so next time I'm in Emmitsburg, I'm taking you up on it. I'm gonna tell Coach Lind you gotta, finish practice a little early.
I got you. I got you.
That's cool about the clothing line. Anybody? I'm going to put you on the spot here a little bit. Who is the best dressed member of the team?
I can't pick.
You can say yourself if you want to. I just know that other guys.
The easy answer is me. The easy answer is me.
Okay, there you go.
We got some stylish people on our team.
Go ahead and plug the clothing brand, and let's hear it.
It's coming out. It's called Double A. It's for Dola Adebayo, and I got my friend who also is helping me with it. Her name starts with A and ends with A too, so that's cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. And any other clothing brands out there that want to get involved here from the NIL space? It seems like a good collaboration opportunity here. So if you're listening to this, hit our guy Dola up.
Yes, sir.
Dave, do you want to go?
Yeah, sure. What do you feel like the team's identity is so far? Again, this being October, how do you feel it's going, and what the team identity is?
Obnoxious. I feel like we're very high energy.
Love that word.
High energy. Coaches stress like being as rowdy as we can. The bench, everybody stands up if the ball's on the other side. Just try to do everything to keep the energy high, intensity. Just get on the other team's nerves. That's what we're trying to do.
Yeah, Coach Lind said that his goal was for you guys to make the other team hate playing against you. So I'm glad to hear that's that everybody's got the message on that one.
Yeah.
For you, just this year, like I'm assuming you're going to play with Jetty a decent amount, in sort of a bigger front court, and somebody's going to have to step a little way, from the basket here just to keep the spacing. Are you going to be the one that we see a little more on the perimeter, and are they asking you to get more shots up from the outside?
Definitely. I'm going to space the floor a little bit.
There you go.
The offense we run, me and him are going to work a lot in tandem along with Terrell. So we're going to see a lot of big-to-big assists as well. And that's also increasing like the playmaking role that I was talking about, trying to make the right play every time.
That's cool.
Just a random question I didn't even have written down, but you know what? I'm going to ask it anyway. Have you guys been working on any kind of bench celebration? Not that you're going to be sitting on the bench a whole lot, unless the refs just, are a little whistle happy. Like, who's got the best celebration or 3-point, just bench mob material?
Jackson. We got the locks. Y'all gonna know about the locks. Y'all don't know yet, but y'all gonna know about the locks. We're gonna get hype.
Okay, that's a good tease. We're looking forward to that. Just Coach Lind talked about this being defensive minded and things like that, and I'm just gonna put you on the spot here again a little bit because I know you can take it. Who is the best defender on the team? Right
now, I'll say Javon Irvin.
That was also Coach's answer, by the way, for best one-on-one defender. So that's fair. What is it about him that's been so tough so far on that end?
He's strong and knows how to move his feet, which is a great combination if you're trying to get by him. So, yeah, I'll say that.
Is there anything you guys do? Well, you have a lot of great individual defenders too. Are you guys taking notes from each other and stealing things like, hey, something that works for him? Are you trying to incorporate that in your game at all? Like, how much do you guys kind of share tips, I guess, on the floor?
Just like a iron sharpens iron type thing. Just playing each other. We play a lot of live, so kind of pick up on what each other's tendencies are and try to steal each other's moves, basically, on offense and defense.
That's great.
You guys are slated where you were slated in the preseason poll. As a player, do you feel that's a fair prediction? And how much of a drop off is there from the top of the league to the bottom of the league?
I don't think that's a fair prediction, but it's out of my control. So I just look at it as fuel. And if they don't expect anything, that means they're not going to be ready. So that's all. That's how I look at it.
All right. X kind of took the shortcut here on the answer on this one, but who's got the best music on the team? Like, what would your answer be?
He wasn't lying. Like, everybody got a different taste of music.
Uh-huh.
Like, the safest choice I would say is just pick Elijah. He got very versatile. He can put on the Hispanic music, he can put on the music I like, the Drake, he could put on. Yeah,
He's keeping everybody happy with his choices then. That's a smart man.
Yeah.
You know, I'm curious, how much did NIL get discussed during your recruitment, you know, coming out of high school? And, you know, what do you think about the Mount, you know, really getting a collective together and, you know, joining the 21st century, as Coach even, you know, said?
Regarding high school, I didn't know anything about it. I think that was during COVID when I got recruited. So there wasn't much discussion about that yet. And just as I've been in college, I've started to hear more and more about it. But I think it's a great opportunity to just help us really. You know, it's a small school and everything helps, you know.
Mikey Dubs is asking us here in the chat, is when you say we're live, is that 3-on-3, 4-on-4, 5-on-5, or is it a mix of those things?
It's everything. That's what keeps practice fun. I think that's a big improvement, I'd like to say. I actually look forward to practice.
It's nice to actually just get to roll the ball out and like play real basketball sometimes.
Yeah.
How's the new court, you know, as far as, you know, playing on it? Will we like it?
It's helping the knees, you know. I'm getting up there. I'm not Unc yet, but I could definitely feel the difference. Definitely more bouncy now on that arena. It's not as hard as on the knees, you know, with the elevation. So it's definitely good. And I like the design too.
I'm terrified for opponents if you're going to be bouncier this season, because that's mine for you as a player. So just your team overall seems like.
Sorry.
Is that something? Oh, sorry, I froze up there a little bit. Guys, can you hear me? Okay.
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay, sorry about that. Internet stuff. There's always something here. Dola, you guys seem like a more athletic, longer, you know, group this season. Is that something you've noticed in practice so far, that you guys have athletes and that's going to, you know, help impose that defensive style of play?
Definitely. It's like every day somebody might get punched on, but it's like normal now. So you could just see the difference in athleticism this year. Everybody just flying around. It's fun.
You know, outside of, you know, X's and O's, I am curious. You know, I've seen reports of college athletes being harassed on social media, largely by guys who bet money and lost. I'm curious if you've experienced that, and if so, how have you handled it?
I haven't experienced it too much online. Really, sometimes it'd be in the cafeteria. Somebody might say, do this. I'm just like, sure. But I don't put too much mind into it. I just try to zone it out. And if it happens online, they'll probably get blocked. That's what the block button's for.
Fair enough.
Smart. That's a veteran move. I can't convince myself to block any of the haters. So you're a wise man in your years here already.
I need to get me some haters, man. I feel left out.
You're not missing anything, I promise. Yeah, that's tough.
Yeah, you're good.
Dola, for you, Mount St. Mary's, I think, has a very, you know, passionate fan base there of local folks that come out and support the team. Just talk a little bit about what that's like for you guys, and just, you know, how nice it is to have like a wild home arena, and also why folks should come out this year and kind of help build on that.
It's cool. I love the fans. Like, and it's not even fans, it's like a family. Like, I'll go to the grocery store out in Emmitsburg and I'll just notice people I've seen in the crowd, and they'll notice me, and it's a cool experience. Why they should come? I mean, they know, they've seen it in past years. it's going to be more. It's just going to be more amplified, and I think they can look forward to that. And it's going to be exciting.
Yeah, the only game I went to last year, I had coached Amari Tice, now going by Amari Monroe at Wofford. And so I went up there, and, I mean, you guys put it on them, plain and simple. And, I mean, again, that's why they play the game. Like, on paper, you know, they're having a great season. You guys took – I mean, it wasn't even close. You guys ran them out the building.
Yeah, we can look forward to that. I'm looking forward to that game, too.
There you go. David, I think that's all I got for Dola. Anything that you want to wrap up with here?
No, man, looking forward to watching you guys hoop this season.
Me too.
Yeah, thank you for the time. Good luck. Maybe last one, any social media handles you want to share with people listening to this?
Instagram is Dola, DOLA.9. That's it.
Good call. All right, thank you, sir. Good luck this season. We're looking forward to it.
Thank you.
All right.
Last but not least.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you for being patient. We appreciate you. I know you have better things you could be doing here on an evening like this, but we've got Mount St. Mary's guard, Carmelo Pacheco. Thanks for coming on, man. How you been?
I'm good. Thanks for having me.
It's our pleasure.
Well, I'm curious. You know, I coached at Fork Union, so I know you played for Coach Bob.
Mm-hmm.
You know, best Coach Bob story or your story from your time at FUMA?
Honestly, it was like our first day of basketball practice, you know, because when you're at FUMA, you have like the 1 week where you just got to train. And we were running suicides, and I think I came like almost last. And, you know, he like looked at me, he yelled at me. He was like, if that's the fastest you can run, then you'll never be a college basketball player. So, I mean, yeah, that one.
Love it.
Any good Coach Lind stories so far?
I mean, Coach Lind's a pretty funny guy, so usually, you know, you can always get a laugh out of him whenever.
Yeah, I'm curious. Obviously, anyone who knows small college basketball, the SAC is a phenomenal league. You know, you scored over 12 points a game as a freshman at UVA Wise, shot almost 48% from the field and almost 44% from outside. How good of a league is that people are sleeping on? And how do you think your play will obviously translate to the Division I level?
Yeah, so, you know, honestly, the SAC is a pretty fast up and down league. It's a lot of athletes in the SAC, you know, so my transition, it wasn't that bad, you know, coming up here, Mount St. Mary's. But, I mean, yeah, like I said, the SAC, you play real fast. It's usually pretty good competition, top to bottom. So, I mean, kind of how X was saying about his high school conference, you know, it was never really a night off. You always had to compete.
Matt, you got something, or you want me to? I know we got tons of questions, so.
Why don't you go ahead there, David?
Okay, yeah, absolutely. You know, how would you describe your game for some of the Mount St. Mary's fans who haven't seen you play yet?
I'm a knockdown shooter. You know, I think that comes first. But then, you know, after my shooting, I'm a very vocal guy on the court. Usually off the court, I'm pretty quiet, stay to myself. But, you know, when I get on that court and the adrenaline's, you know, flowing, I'm a pretty vocal guy. And then, you know, honestly, I got a high IQ. So just getting my teammates involved, you know, that's pretty much it.
For you coming over, I guess, is there something that they sold you on as a part of that recruiting process that made you want to come to Mount St. Mary's? Like, what was the pitch or the part of the pitch that most resonated with you?
You know, honestly, it was the culture piece. You know, Coach Lind kind of envisioned what he wanted, you know, culture-wise. And, you know, I kind of told him, like, I wanted somewhere where it was going to be fun playing basketball. I wanted to be around good guys and, you know, honestly wanted to be around people who were going to support me and, you know, all had the same goal in mind. So that kind of sold me. And then when I got here, I was kind of like, yeah, like, this is what I was looking for.
I like hearing that. And if memory serves me correct, you had a visit that you canceled after visiting Mount, if I'm not mistaken. So talk about that, the official visit and just kind of setting foot on campus.
Yeah, so I had honestly came to Mount a few years ago when I was playing AAU. There was some AAU tournament up here, so I was kind of familiar with Mount. But, when I got here on campus. Kind of got some memories from playing AAU a couple of years ago. I had a pretty good game at night. So, I mean, that was nice looking back on. But, just like exploring the campus, hanging out with the guys. I mean, it was kind of everything I wanted, plus Coach Lind's vision of his culture. So, it was the right spot for me.
David already mentioned it. You were 6 of 138 from 3 last year. That's almost 44%. That makes you a certified professional shooter at this point in time. I'm always curious when I talk to shooters like yourself, where do you aim when you shoot? Is it front rim, back rim, just kind of anywhere? Like, I don't know. Some guys don't really aim. I'm just always curious.
Yeah, honestly, I don't really aim. I've been asked that question, a whole lot since I'm a shooter. But, yeah, I don't really aim. I just kind of look at the basket and, all the reps that you get in practice or, a workout with a coach is kind of all just muscle memory. So, I mean, when you're a shooter, you kind of got that confidence that you're going to knock it down.
Good call.
I saw your brother at the elite camp, and I know you got an offer from Mount. I'm not sure if he committed or not, but how cool would it be to, lace him up with your brother at the college level potentially?
I mean, yeah, it honestly be pretty cool, lacing it up with him, playing D1 basketball. So, I mean, yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. I really love to play with him.
We talked about your shooting, but we've also talked a lot tonight about the defensive, side of the ball here too. What are you going to bring on the defensive end for the team this year?
Honestly, with my IQ being so high, I know how to, guard different kinds of players using different kinds of angles. I'm pretty physical for 2 guard, 2-3 guard. So, I can switch on the bigger guys, sometimes. And then honestly, just my voice is probably going to be the biggest part. Me, X, I mean, we're pretty vocal. So, just using our voice to kind of help everything run.
That's great. You need that.
Curious, because I consider myself pretty superstitious and didn't have much success last year, so I might have to totally change my routine. What kind of routines do you have pregame, and how superstitious are you?
Honestly, I'm pretty superstitious. Like, if I have a good game in a certain pair of socks, I got to wear those socks. I wear the arm sleeve now, so I actually have 2 of them. So whichever one I have a good game in is whichever one I'm gonna stick with throughout the season.
I like that. That's good, man. If it ain't broke, don't fix it, and if it is, switch it. So that's always a good way to go about it. Just coming in this year, like, is there sort of one guy, one of the returning players that helped you kind of get acclimated or learn the program, or any expectations like that? I don't know. There's always like somebody that you sort of immediately click with on the team. So I guess, who was that for you?
It was X. Like he said, he's my roommate. So we're always talking basketball. He's always, giving me advice on different kinds of things, because he's older. So, I mean, just leaning on X, X is kind of, well, not kind of, he basically is our leader. So, just listening to X and, just kind of watching what X does, because, he carries himself well on and off the court. So.
You said you were pretty clean, but now's your time to get him back. Like, how is he as a roommate? Is he doing his own dishes and all that kind of stuff?
Oh yeah, X is super clean. He doesn't tolerate any of that.
I like it.
He's super clean.
That's a real leader. I love that for both you guys.
So obviously on road trips, you guys, bunk up. You got a roommate. Is there anybody you've gotten a scouting report that just snores, or is like, hey, really great player, but probably not the guy you want to room with?
I wouldn't say snores, but I know AK, he's a freshman. He likes to talk really loud on the phone. So, yeah, he just likes to talk loud on the phone.
They can't be having that from a freshman. Somebody, one of the vets here's you got to put him in order there a little bit. Just for you to not only shoot the ball at a high level, you're also somebody that really protects the ball at a high level too. You had a 54-16 assist to turnover ratio. Is that, something you just naturally do, or is that something you put a lot of emphasis on, is just sort of taking care of the ball?
I think I just naturally do it. Ever since I was younger, my dad kind of taught me and my brother just to play the game the right way, make the easy play. Don't try to force too much. And, playing at Fort Union, Coach Bob really helped me a lot with that. Just move the ball, like the ball come back to you eventually. Like you don't need to stick with the ball or try to, make a contested play or, a hero play. So just moving the ball.
Gotcha.
Is there anyone in particular, who's helped acclimate you to the team, program, or town, whether player or coach?
Yeah, honestly, all of the older guys, I usually go out with a couple of them to eat or, just explore different stuff. We're a pretty tight-knit group, so, we're always hanging out, doing all kinds of random stuff off the court.
What's the favorite spot to eat? You guys have one go-to you want to plug here? Maybe it's an opportunity for them to get a little NIL going with you guys too.
I know a lot of us, we go to Quickway in Frederick.
Okay.
That's always the go-to spot for us, Quickway.
Nice. Yeah, Quickway, if you're listening, this is your time. Get in with the Mal program here.
Buy stock now. Yeah. Obviously, being from Virginia, I'm sure, George Mason, some other games are, ones you have circled on your calendar. What games, non-conference wise, are you looking forward to? Obviously, one day at a time, like Coach Lind said, and don't look too far ahead. But, as far as showing yourself, on a bigger stage or, that you have some friends and family planning to come to.
Honestly, the Maryland game, Georgetown, George Mason, probably all three of those. And then, like everybody wants to go to Miami right now. So, I mean, just honestly playing against, those real high major teams. So it'll be a good experience.
We've talked about a whole bunch of your teammates here tonight, and you've been listening in even before you came on here. Is there anybody that we haven't talked about here that you just want to give a little love to or mention, or even a couple guys? It's up to you, but just something that we haven't talked about that you think is going to be an integral member of the team this year.
Yeah, I'll shout out Trey Wilson. He's a freshman for us. He never takes a play off. He's always playing hard in practice. He's a real scrappy kid. So, Trey's coming along really well.
When I was kind of taking your guys' whole roster and going through, there's a lot of physical defender, scrappy player, gets rebounds, hustles. So I think for anybody that likes watching, a physical brand of basketball, I think that's he's going to fit in great, and that's going to be fun for people to watch.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, obviously everyone wants to play in March Madness at some point. As somebody who's has a chance, I mean, it's a league that really, is a one bid. Man, talk about just hoping you get hot in the postseason and what it would be like to play in March Madness. Like, do you guys ever just talk about that of like, man, what if, and just, you never know what happens.
I mean, yeah, we honestly talk about it all the time because we know that we got a special group here. And, like I said, we're so tight knit, and it's just like, man, like we're having all these conversations. But, I think when we really start to play, we'll show the fans and we'll show, people who follow us, like what kind of team we are. And, if we can really put it together, that'd be something.
Very cool. We talked to a couple of your teammates now already. We mentioned the black jerseys. I don't know. They look pretty cool to me. I would be excited about that. How do you feel about those?
Yeah, I like the black uniforms. I had black at my old school. So, I like wearing black.
Cool.
Who's got the best drip on the team as far as on the court or off the court?
Honestly, I'm going to probably have to say Terrell. We got a couple dudes, who could really dress. Terrell, Orlandis, Javon. But out of those three, I'd probably have to say Terrell.
Very cool. Yeah, I mean, that's a good well-dressed group of guys there. So you guys are off to a good start. Just for the program, obviously you guys preseason projections aren't as high as I think we all here on this call think you guys can finish this year. Is that, I don't know, guys have a chip on their shoulder about that? Like, is that something that you guys pay attention to and want to go out and prove wrong? Or is it just something you kind of totally tune out?
Yeah, no, I mean, the day after the rankings came out, one of our teammates, Mo Dredd, he actually came into practice and he's like yelling out the number. And he's like, yeah, like we're about to prove everybody wrong. It's just motivation to us. No pressure on us. Let's just go out there, do what we do, play the way we play, and, they'll see for themselves.
Good advice.
What are you most looking forward to about your first home game at Knott?
I mean, I'm just looking forward to it because it'll be my first, Division I game, and every kid wants to play Division I, and I'm just, blessed to be here.
Is that something that you have a chip about too? Like, I've seen enough of your game now prepping for this that I saw, like, hey, this is a guy that's going to hang perfectly well in the MAC this year. This is a Division I basketball player. Do you feel overlooked? Is that something where you're looking to kind of, prove people wrong for missing out on you the first go round?
I mean, yeah, I definitely have a chip on my shoulder. I've kind of had that chip since high school, not really getting the offers that I wanted. Mm-hmm. And then again, had that same chip in prep school. So it's kind of something that I still play with. And, it's always about proving people wrong.
If any of the people listening to this, whether it's a business, somebody who, wants to provide NIL opportunities, what kind of stuff are you interested in? What are your hobbies outside of basketball, and any social media handles that they should connect with you on?
Yeah, I'm a big video game guy, so anything, whether it's controllers or headsets or even a video game. And yeah, my Instagram is Melo Pacheco 1, so I mean, give it a follow. But yeah, video games is pretty much what I do off the court.
What's the game of choice?
It's NCAA right now.
Can anybody on the team hang with you, or you?
No, I'm the best. They all know it.
There you go. Very cool. Melo, thank you for doing this, man. We really appreciate it. I'm looking forward to a big year from you, and keep proving those doubters wrong.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me.
Man, best of luck this season. Hey, hopefully you keep wearing that same pair of socks, because that would mean you are shooting the ball at a high level.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you.
All right. Good luck this season, and we'll look forward to having you back on here and checking in throughout the course of the year.
Thank you, guys.
All right, take care. All right. I think that almost wraps things up for our media day with Mount St. Mary's basketball. If you're still watching this, make sure to hit that like button on YouTube for us. Share it with a friend. All that stuff is really appreciated. Rate, review, subscribe. You can find this episode in the audio version anywhere you go for podcasts here, essentially. So if you're listening to this already, great, you found it. But tell a friend. We appreciate that. David, just before we close out here too, you also do a podcast of your own. So where can people find that?
Yeah, anywhere podcasts are available. It's called Beyond the Box Score podcast, really geared toward coaches, but also, people like yourself who kind of want to gain the insight of what goes through the mind of a coach, which you don't always want to know, but it's helpful. And a lot of guys who have played or didn't come from a quote huge coaching tree and have kind of navigated their path. So whether it's women's basketball, NBA, G League, professionally overseas, D1, D2, D3, JUCO, I kind of like to help people share their journeys and dabble in some of the media day kind of stuff. And that's kind of how we connected, was actually watching and listening to you do your interview with Coach Lind. Mm-hmm. So, hopefully we can collaborate on a few things down the road. But no, I really appreciate you, wanting to do this. And I think the listeners definitely got their money's worth. Say that.
Yeah, this was all your idea. I mean, just full disclosure for everybody, and it's a great one. I think this is a cool thing to do, and it's something I'd like to do with some of the other local programs too. So if people like this, give us some feedback. And if it's something you want to see more of, or a particular program you want us to connect with, let us know, and we'll reach out to them and see what we can get together, because there's a ton of really good basketball players in this area. I think you and I both try to feature that as much as we can. A lot of smart coaches as well. So if we can get a little extra attention on them, if one more person goes out and sees this team because of this interview, I think that's definitely worth it.
Absolutely. And for whatever reason you do feel like listening to my ramblings once in a while, feel free to follow me on Twitter, X, coach_cap, KAP. That's probably the best way to follow me. And the Twitter for the podcast is @coachespodcast. So appreciate anyone who has followed me or goes ahead and clicks that follow button right now. But no, man, it was a lot of fun. Really had a blast tonight.
Any major theme that you picked up on here, or thing you heard that was surprising, or I don't know, something that stood out to you above and beyond?
Just a gritty bunch. again, not guys who are 4 or 5-star kids, getting, huge offers coming out of high school, but they're gritty. They seem to really like each other, and they seem to really have buy-in. Like, they know it's not going to happen overnight, and they're not afraid of putting in the work. Just kind of everything you look for. Me as a coach, like, God, that's what I'd love to have. Like, that separates, the teams you like being a part of from the ones that you're like, yeah, I was on staff there. I don't really talk to any of those guys anymore.
Yeah, the vibes are high, I think, and to your point, like, I don't know, there are certain like basketball cliches you hear all the time, and a lot of it is just sort of like, oh, we've got a chip on our shoulder and like things like that. This group, all great guys, but you kind of feel it, right? Like, these are people that feel overlooked. They feel like they're being slightly, written off or undervalued, or maybe not even slightly, considerably. And I think when you get a whole group like that, and that's sort of the makeup of the team of like, we are wired to go out and just prove people wrong, you get that extra, couple percent of intensity and effort and hustle and things like that. And, with the way Coach Lind wants to play and the coaching tree he's from, like, he's from a group of coaches that pride themselves on getting after people and making you feel them. And I think that that's what you're going to get from this bunch. And I will not be shocked if they definitely, overachieve from those preseason projections.
No question. And, it's funny. Coach Lind said, easiest season to schedule. I don't think he's going to have that much luck and that much, ease in scheduling as he will probably in 3 to 4 years from now. I think it will be a very tough task to schedule non-conference games.
Yeah, if you're going to try to get them now and get them early, because they're building in the right direction here. And I think, we talked about with Coach Lind keeping certain guys from last year's team as holdovers. People like Lipscomb, like, that's the kind of DNA you want on the team as you start to build your culture, rebuild and things like that too, and bring Dola back is big, and Teddy Cordia and people like that are sort of holdovers from that previous group. So going to be exciting to watch them play, and we'll just keep featuring these guys as we go here, and try to have them back on for following episodes as we go.
Yeah, and I think that's going to be a group of guys, not just the 3 we had on, but more of like your old school, there for 4 years. Like, they feel like they're going to be like hometown heroes. They're going to be fan favorites. I think, the young kids that come to the games are going to love, the high flying dunks. I think the basketball fans are going to love the gritty defense. I think the casual fan is just going to appreciate how hard they play. And that's not something that every team does. It's not something that every player or every coach is able to do on a night in, night out basis. And I really do believe in this group over in Emmitsburg.
Yeah, we didn't talk about him a ton this episode, so I'd like to maybe circle back with him individually. But Javon Irvin is somebody that I watched some of his, I guess his JUCO tape before this, and like, whoa, okay, like, this dude can score. That we talked about the defense on the episode here too. So I think he's someone that maybe folks aren't familiar with, and if they're following this team, I think they're going to be pretty quickly here too. So there's a couple more guys like that as well.
No question.
All right, Coach Cap, appreciate you, man. This was great. Looking forward to doing more of these here. We told folks where they can find you, and I'll put that in the episode description here. So I just want to say thanks again for what you do with your podcast, because I feel smarter as a basketball listener. So appreciate you.
I appreciate you, Matt. And yeah, man, this was a blast.
All right, everybody. Like I said, the drill. Rate, review, subscribe. We were brought to you by betonline.ag, and we will catch you all next time.